Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Good morning, champs. Good morning, everybody. Happy President's Day to all across the Delaware Valley, the champion Delaware Valley. How does it feel? I think the whole city is now on a hangover after what was probably the biggest parade ever. I say that with a question mark, but really it should be an exclamation mark. It was bigger than 18. The parade was bigger than 18. It was, I think, certainly the crowd was larger. I mean, it's amazing how I thought that parade didn't miss, and like it was celebrated with the same ferocity than the first one, if not more. Like it was awesome. Like people showed up and showed out. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY to find out the credit union difference. They showed up, showed out, and you know, it's interesting. I wondered what would it be like, right? Because you go, your first one is your first one. And it's so hard to top the first one because, look, there was never a Super Bowl champion. Like, they hadn't been to the Super Bowl but twice ever before 2018, right? Ever. Like, that day in Minneapolis, was only their second Super Bowl appearance in the history of the franchise. And so, you know, they win. Like, it was the first Super Bowl, so everybody goes wild. And you wonder, and you go, all right, there could only be one first. That was it. You had Kelsey, right, the Mummers costume, you had the whole thing, and these moments that happened. In this one, you got Howie get hit with the beer and not missing a beat. And all kidding aside, like, you had that kind of parade moment. And here it is, you know, a few years later. And look, they didn't miss a beat, man. That thing was celebrated. That thing was a blast. That was a great freaking time. And people celebrated that thing like it was the first. Really interesting dynamic. It shows you, A, how much Philadelphia likes a party, but it also shows you the love for this team. I think this team is probably the most beloved team in the history of Philadelphia. And it's hard to talk about this with recency bias because it's right in front of you. And look, that 80 team, Phillies, was really beloved. I mean, the Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies. I mean, you know, they went 50 years still being the toast of the town. Bernie Perrant walks anywhere in this city, and people, Bernie! Now, part of it's his personality, but, like, you know, they were beloved. Phillies 08, beloved. 83 Sixers. But nothing like this team. Nothing like this team. I mean, as much as, you know, we love Nick Foles, I mean, I think this team is just a great team. They're likable. They're young in the right places. They're a beloved team. They're like, think about the lovable characters. Now, when you win, certainly it gives you the spotlight of beloved. But you still got to be, like, does it get better than Saquon Barkley? Right? Like, Saquon Barkley comes here, and not only does he have a historic season, but he's also a gentleman. Like, he's the anti-Paul George, right? If Paul George, who should be wearing a mask and carrying a gun, right, sits out 3 games because of his pinky and then goes and celebrates the All-Star break on the beach, the opposite is Saquon. right? Gutting it out every week as the running back, having this incredible time. Like a superstar coming over here and delivering. Superstar coming here and taking his game to another level. When do you see that? Other than Moses, right? And Saquon eclipsed that. And Saquon, just a complete gentleman. Just lovable in every which way. And then we love, the Hurt story is great. Jalen, this whole story about, I just want to win. Like you can hear him sometimes and all the filters and all this nonsense. And in the end, he's just like, I just want to win. And here's a guy who plays Magic Johnson. And that's what he was. He was Magic Johnson. You need me to score, right? Throw the ball down the field? I will. You need me to do it differently, like run? I will. You need me to get it to Saquon? Or I will. Like, it was every bit of Magic Johnson. If Magic Johnson was the greatest point guard ever, which in my mind he was, then that's how I think Jalen Hurts played quarterback, like a point guard. And then the O-line. You love everybody. The guy who's got the voice of an angel in Mailata, right? Lane, the grizzled veteran who overcame, who battles with, mental anguish, right? And is a great poster child for that, brings awareness to it. You got the kids along the line, Dickerson, right? Cam Jurgens playing through pain, the free agent, the big mammoth free agent in tears because he won, and Mekhi Becton. And then you got everybody on defense. And who doesn't love that? Like, we love defense more than anything in this city. Everything. Like, we love defense. And we have a defense that was historic, that was more dominant than the 85 Bears, that was more dominant than the 2000 Ravens, that was more dominant than the 2013 Broncos. Like, what? Like going into the season, we hoped that Fangio would have gotten this defense to be adequate, right? Because 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, missed tackles, Gannon got snookered a couple times. But they not only adequate, they became the best defense in the league and then became a historic defense. Getting home without a blitz, right? With only 4 guys. Yeah, they drop Nolan every once in a while the coverage and rush Zach Bond, which is his own blitz. But they only rush 4 all game. That's unbelievable. The rookie gets a pick 6. Go through that whole defense. Beloved. The coaches, beloved. Sirianni, all of a sudden, right? We went his journey. Beloved. It's really amazing story. Good morning, VG.
What's happening, brother?
We doing, buddy?
Just trying to get through today.
Yeah. It's got
quiet,
that vibe.
It's quiet and sleepy in the city.
Sleepy.
Yep.
Right? It's President's Day. The kids are off.
Yep.
Right? They're off Friday. This is like the, hey, yeah, enjoy today, relax, get your head together. Tomorrow it starts for real again.
Yeah, it's a rough weekend weather-wise.
Yeah, cold.
The rain. It was how much rain? I don't know about you in South Jersey. The city was just
the wind.
Just a giant
horrible.
Puddle everywhere, and the puddle, the wind yesterday. And
if that was snow, we would have been buried.
Yeah. Wow.
The wind last night was crazy.
And my dog.
My house is like a haunted house.
It was
Yeah,
whipping.
dude.
Yeah, man. It was
Creeks
horrible.
and all kinds of stuff. Wind sucks.
Wind
does suck.
Because the cold is bearable
right,
without the wind.
Right. If it's cold, there's no wind. All right. But
Yeah.
the wind just
Yes.
makes it horrible.
Not to be confused with a breeze. A nice breeze is good.
Yeah.
But wind.
Wind. No.
Nah, out.
No. Icy wind.
Out on wind.
No. Out.
Icy wind. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
That goes right through you.
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes right
And
through
you
you.
Bone
if
cutter.
it's, yeah, or if it's like raining with the wind with the water hitting you right in the face,
slapping you,
yeah, no
like
good.
like in the high seas, right? Like it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I covered a lot of stuff in the opening, and I want to get your opinion on all of it. First of all, 2025 greater than 2018?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why. Well, maybe because they're just dominant. They were the best team. It wasn't luck. Like, the Nick Foles stuff was nice. We got there, but it was a little bit of luck.
Yeah, it was. It was good fortune.
Yes.
It was blue snow.
This is, we're the best team.
We're King Kong, mother father.
Yes. We got defense. And I don't know. This party Friday felt like a whole different party than that first one. It was wild out there.
Like, that's insane to me.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Like you would think that the first was the first. Like you can only have one of them.
You would think, but now, man, we were bigger, better, stronger. Like and
maybe it is because, like you said, that we all loved them going into the game.
Mm-hmm.
The whole town was like, we were all. Like we all thought they would win, like genuinely thought they would win. Not like flex. Hope, but like we're going to be homers, and we all believed that they were going to win.
Yeah, and they smoked them. Like, when you watch that mic'd up, man, they were so prepared. Fangio and Kellen had them really prepared. Like they knew what was going on. And I don't know. It's like, this is us. Yeah, it's different than a fluke.
It was definitely
different than Nick Foles beating Belichick. This is like,
right. I would think
we're here to stay. It feels like
and maybe there was a bit of shock that the first one happened.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely.
Like,
the first one was shocking.
It was like, oh my god, like we are. Pinch me, is this real?
Yeah,
we have a parade. This one was like, we're the chance. Let's go party.
Yeah, and we're here. We're gonna be here for a bit. Get used to us.
Yeah,
yeah.
This is our. We have never had a dynasty in Philadelphia.
Not even like talk of one or a chance
the
of one.
Flyers were the only one close.
Yeah.
They were going for the hat trick in 76.
That's a long time ago.
Right? But that was it. The Sixers should have been one in the late 70s, early 80s.
Feels like the Phillies probably should have had two.
They should easily have two. I mean, they should have beat the Yankees.
Yeah.
If they beat the Yankees in 09, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Certainly 10-11 they should have won. I mean, that should have been dynastic.
Yeah.
They were the best team. I can honestly say the Phillies were the best team in baseball during that whole run.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Baseball's just so weird.
Yeah.
Baseball's it's not like the other sports. Baseball. I feel like the best team in the season rarely wins in baseball.
But we're the best team. We're dominant.
By a distance, we were the best team. Not even close.
And and guess what? Everybody partied like it.
Maybe it's the young kids. Like, I don't know, what is this? What's this generation? A Z? I mean, they were out.
Zoomer.
The young kids were out for this parade, man.
Joey and I got to the front lines after we were at Chickies and Pete's. We headed right down 20th to the Parkway, and it was.
What'd you do? You walk?
Yeah, I parked at my place, and then we walked all the way down. It was about a half an hour walk, but it was absolutely mobbed. The amount of people, I mean, the partying, the singing, the dancing, the drinking. I mean, it just felt bigger than 18. It just felt way bigger. And the energy, the electricity that was in the crowd just felt stronger. Because it's exactly like you guys are saying. There was a feeling of flexing the muscles in this one.
Yeah.
Like, we are the dominant team.
Yeah.
We are here to stay.
That's interesting.
Even the side, like, because I when I left Chickies, I had to walk to Snyder Ave to get to the subway and cross under. And even the side streets were packed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of action going on the side streets just walking up and down.
I didn't see the estimate.
I didn't see any estimates.
I didn't see any estimate of what it was. You see an estimate, Andrew?
No, I didn't see anything. But
I mean whatever it is, it's light.
Yeah, seriously. It had to be over 2, right?
I mean, I would think. I mean, it's just pandemonium. Like, imagine these kids like Nolan Smith, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, right? Imagine this. Like what they probably are like, talk about blown away. That's an experience that you're riding on those floats.
Yeah.
Going, oh my God, look at this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like they see the 70,000 at the stadium, but this is, if you're coming from a town of 900 people,
Nothing in
you're
comparison.
seeing like 4,000 on the first block.
Right?
Wow.
Like you're Cooper.
Yeah.
That's part of the story. The great story is that.
Yeah. It's got to be overwhelming to the senses. Like you can't even process that there's this many people that you impact with your job. You know what I mean? It's your job, and you come out, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
I impact all these people. It's wild.
Yeah. It never ceases to amaze me, this town and what we're about. Like how much we love this. Like on Saturday night, I did my buddy John Yurkow, who's the baseball coach at Penn. They had their baseball dinner. So I went and spoke to the team and to everybody at the Penn baseball dinner. And we were talking about, I brought up the parade about, the soul of Philadelphia, and it was on display. And how sports, you always hear me talk about it. It's like a broken record, like sports builds churches, right? It just does. Like the whole city was one big chapel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the togetherness, the unity.
The unity was outrageous.
And when you think about all those people together in one place.
Drinking.
Yeah.
And whatever else people are doing.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's blazing, right?
Yeah.
They're blazing, they're drinking, they're doing their thing. But there was really no issues.
No.
Yeah, one here and there. I know that the one guy got shot in the leg and there was some this and that.
Yeah.
But when you have that many people and that few, that means something.
Yeah. Philly turned out. And we like a good party. You see the one dude who was puking and still doing the Eagles shit?
Oh, my God.
I didn't see
He was
that.
like at the railing at the art museum and he's just puking. He's going, you see his fist go.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's funny. People poke fun at that, right? Like around the nation. Like, because I got it, like, from people. I did my national show Saturday. The drunken creeps of Philadelphia.
Of course.
And it's like, dude, you're missing the point. Yeah, some people imbibe and over imbibe. Yeah. But there was a lot of connection, a lot of love. I mean, that was the beauty. When you have that many people, they're not showing up like that in other cities.
Yeah, there was no
and
arrogance.
It was cold, man. People were out early and it was cold.
Yeah,
people
were
at the
out.
Parkway standing outside for like 8 hours.
Yeah. There was no arrogance. There was no one being rough. There wasn't anyone yelling at each other. I mean, like I said, I walked from my place in South Philly all the way to the Parkway. And from there, going there and coming back, I mean, everybody was cheering, go Birds. I mean, it was just a lovely, exciting scene with everybody. I saw nothing that was like, people were fighting or anything like that happening. There wasn't any of that.
Yeah, I say the only buzzkill of the day for me was our mayor.
Oh, that was so
like,
long.
how long was she talking? And she was buzzkilling everyone. The bar's booing. Like, it was all good mood, except the bar's booing her. I can't imagine the Parkway had to be booing her at some point. It was
all boos, yeah.
It's like, just come out, say something. Just say, go Birds.
Don't take 15 minutes.
Yeah, like a 10-minute talk, and you're giving us, like, speech slogans. You're, like, campaign slogans. I don't know. She's a real glamour with this stuff. I just wish she'd have a little more decorum in these instances. I see her on the field, and she's like a fangirl, getting her pictures taken with her family, with all the players and stuff. It's like...
And she totally messed up the one line. Did you hear her say it? It was like, when we are together, nothing is possible.
Nothing is possible. Like, every time she's in front of a mic and a big
oh, man.
You know what's funny is I like her, right? Like,
sure, yeah.
And I want to love her.
Yeah.
But I like her, but you're right. Like, she does need... She needs to...
She had a moment where she's like 2 words, and she's like, thank you. Like, that would have been great.
Yeah.
End it there. Go Birds. And then she went for over like another 8 minutes. And you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's just the whole vibe. The whole bar that I was in was just like, boo, shut up.
Yeah. Well, you got to know where you're at. Like, you got to understand.
Yeah.
Like,
no one's here to hear you talk.
No. And that's the thing. Like, it's that... who said it? Patino or Calipari? The disease... Pat Riley, the disease of me, right? Like all of a sudden, all these people, and there's a microphone, and then you're asked to say something, you think it's about you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and I have a problem sometimes with media, right? Like, it's not about, the media is only there to tell the story. You're the scribe, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's written, whether it's video, right? Whatever form it's in, you're you're a conduit to deliver the message. You're not the story. I was always taught that. You're not the story. Story's the Eagles. It's not that you pick the Eagles. Like,
right.
There's always, I know you've seen media people throughout the course of time that put themselves in the mix. Like, nobody in the media blocked or tackled, right? Like, we're here to tell the story, to talk about the story, to talk about the team, debate stuff as the season goes on, right? Like, provide conversation. That's it. Though they deserve glory. They achieved. They were in the arena and deserved the glory.
And they do. I mean, it
was
do. A team that was through a lot. I know, like, the Kelsey had his speech where everyone's an underdog, but I don't remember that team because they weren't front runners. That team, like, this team got shredded in the media. The coach, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. I mean, they got pretty shredded. Like, they deserved to celebrate in this parade, man. They earned this one.
Nah, they were the best team, but they were a great team. And they each had their own journeys to things to overcome throughout their journey. Jalen, Howie.
Like you mentioned in your top, there's not a creep in the bunch.
No.
They're very likable guys.
They're lovable. And
they are lovable.
And listen, just because you win, it doesn't mean, like, 93 Phillies, they weren't all lovable, right?
No,
like,
tons of creeps.
A lot of creeps in that room, right?
Yeah.
It was a lot of creeps.
Yes.
Creep. So, but this team, I mean, you watch Nolan Smith celebrate, you watch Cooper celebrate, you listen to Quignon talk. You love these kids.
There's the two moments. Quignon, there was a baby with a sign.
Yeah.
He stopped for, like, I don't know, 3 minutes, took pictures. And then did you see he saw the ball boy in the crowd?
Yeah.
And lifts him over the fence like, you're with us?
Yeah.
Great stuff, man.
And how about Saquon?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. As elite, like, he's an elite player. He's
and human.
Oh my God! Well, that's the point. Like, you want to talk about, like, and I brought up Paul George as an example of free agency, right?
You see the pictures of him this weekend?
Oh, of course, right?
You gotta be kidding,
right?
Me.
You were one of the biggest thieves ever to come through Philadelphia, right? But, like, you got on one spectrum is that guy, and then on the top is Saquon, who does nothing but represent this city with pride, himself. I mean, he's a beautiful guy. He's a beautiful guy, beautiful human being, man, and a great player. Like, that is rare.
Yeah,
he's humble. Like, the humility that he brings. Like, God bless him. A million times. God bless Saquon Barkley.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, he's
100%.
just an awesome, fantastic, great dude. I mean, God bless him. All right, lots to get to. All day today, we just kind of celebrate, kind of get back into the rhythm. Like, I'm a fish out of water with sports.
It's weird, dude. Coming up 3rd Street, I saw a couple bars. They've already switched. Eagle stuff's out of the window. Phillies are in. Almost like a retail space, switching over to the next holiday.
It's Phillies time.
Yeah,
it is Phillies time. And Flyers, because I know that they're going to limp through. But I'm in on the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other team I'm so livid with, I hate that league, and I'm livid with them. I've never been so angry with a league and a team.
I see it. I hear it.
I do.
I watched 0 seconds of their All-Star weekend.
Oh, well, it's trash. It's the most ridiculous, dumbest idea. Let's collect the greatest players and not have them play.
Right.
You're shoving Kevin Hart down my throat. Speaking of overexposed.
A little bit, you think?
Who's not even funny, right? I got to deal with Kevin Hart. I want to watch basketball.
Is he like the host of the ceremonies?
It's every 5 seconds. Unfunny skits.
Oh, man.
Stop. It's just ridiculous. They've ruined that league. That Silver is the worst commissioner. I used to think that MLB commissioners were horrible, one after the other.
Yeah.
From Bud Selig on to right now, Manfred. Adam Silver's worse.
Yeah.
Worse.
I mean, the league's totally downturned under his watch for sure.
Oh, it's a trash league. It's sad. And it makes me angry.
I got angry because they gave the kid $100,000 because he hit from half court. Come on, Pat McAfee gives $100,000 every Saturday morning on college games.
Exactly.
Give the kid $1 million.
Exactly.
Give the kid $1 million. You're the NBA.
It's Mr. Beast as well, and if that money's coming from him, that dude's got a lot.
Yeah, it's All-Star
of money.
Weekend. Change the kid's life. If you're gonna
Well,
throw this
what it is?
viral
Like,
video
they
out,
sold
change
out
the
to
kid's
all
life.
this stuff. They sold out to the social media world. Meanwhile, nobody watched.
Right.
Nobody cared.
It's hard.
Because here's the truth of the matter. That I don't care if you got a zillion followers, it doesn't translate to audience is if what you're doing is trash.
Yeah, and it is trash.
All right, let's talk about a couple things. A couple of our friends, shall we? Let's talk about Parks Casino. Here we go. You ready?
Oh, no.
All right, I got the axe. Here's what's happening. Parks Casino, our favorite casino. That's right. Action, excitement, headline entertainment, concerts, comedy, MMA, boxing, state-of-the-art Excite Center, plus 1,000 slots, live table games, state-of-the-art sportsbook, beautiful poker room, collection of award-winning restaurants. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino. Here you go. Tickets on sale now for these headliners. March 7th, Scotty McCreery from American Idol.
Just give me 5 more minutes.
Oh, here we go. March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro.
Magician of the Year.
March 22nd, country star Lee Brice.
There's a rumor going around about me and you.
April 24th, Live, the band.
Oh, I got to get refreshed up on Live.
Come on.
Lightning Crash. What's that song? What is that song?
I don't know, dude.
Oh, we got to look it up.
Live.
Yeah. They're from Lancaster, aren't they?
Live,
Yes,
the
they
band.
are.
April
Yeah.
24th. May 16th, comedian Larry the Cable Guy.
Get her done.
Get her done. May 16th, June 27th, comedian Trevor Wallace. July 12th, comedian Mark Norman. Don't forget dinner and drinks before the show. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Go ahead, VG.
Ah, man. I'll talk to you about our friends at Ace Hardware Home Services. So listen, home projects, home repairs, super stressful. And there's a good chance this weekend you might have noticed you got some home repairs you need with the wind blowing and the water flushing around all over you. So think about our friends over at Ace Hardware Home Services to help you out. You got a leaky pipe, Ace Hardware Home Services. They're around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the right people to do it. You got a heating issue, they got someone for that. Air conditioning, you might start thinking about it. Spring is coming. You got a faucet you said you fixed last fall, they got a person do that too, because they're not only just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful hardware home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got trusted seasoned pros to keep your house running all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing the helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, right now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next home project.
All right. I wanted our next guest, who was in the thick of things, a great 4-for-4 man, my wingman forever. He is the bro. Bro, good morning.
What up?
So I wanted you because I wanted to talk about relevant, like what Friday means, like what it meant, like, and to understand what it means, you got to compare it to what happened in the past, right? So we remember 08 and the 08 parade, and we remember obviously 18. Compare it to 18, bro. You were in the middle of it in the Parkway.
Yeah, so for me personally, it's kind of 08, and I was young, 30 pack of beers on my back, running up and down Broad Street with my buddies, kind of acting nuts. in 18, we were on the verge of becoming parents. So it was like kind of like our last hurrah. And then this one I got to see through with my 5-year-old on my shoulders. So it was kind of like a beautiful scope of life in the 3 parades I've been able to experience. And being able to see it through her eyes was really cool. Like driving in, I was like, Skylar, do you know how many people are going to be here? He said, 100? And I was like, yeah, times like a lot. And she was asking, can we park next to my friends from school that are going? And I'm like, no, we're barely going to see anybody we know, but it doesn't matter. So just seeing like the sheer magnitude of people blow her mind was really, really cool. It was, I thought Les Bowen put it really well in his piece. Like 18 was kind of like the monkey off the back. It was like almost like a stress release. And this one was a little bit more joyous. This one was a little bit more of a party. 18 was like, oh man, we can breathe. And this one was like, all right, this is our new norm. Let's party. So I thought it was really cool.
You know what? That's a great way to put it. I think you and Les nailed it because it's true. There was a pressure, and the pressure started in the early 2000s with Andy Reid, ironically, right? And that team.
Sure.
And there was a pressure to win. It was like, hey, we haven't been to Super Bowl since 80, right? We haven't experienced that. The last time we had a chance was that Buddy Ryan era with that great defense that was a failure, that didn't win a playoff game, right? And so there was a pressure, and they were buzzing around and buzzing around and buzzing around. And then you're right. Come 18, they win, and there's probably a little bit of luck, like we talked about. This is just, we're the best team in the league by far. Like, they're a great team. They exude dominance. So I think you're right. I think it was a part.
Yeah, like at one point I had Skylar on my shoulders, and my wife Addie was with me, and I turned around and I said, there was a point in my life where I never thought I was going to see one of these. And I said, we're at our second. I was like, this is just incredible. It was just pure happiness. It was awesome. And I heard you guys talking about it before. This team is so likable on top of it. And they're so young, and hopefully they're getting ready for this to be the new normal.
You feel it? New norm?
Yeah, finally it's fruition.
Yeah.
Doug led us here.
Well, there's a lot. It's funny because
it's 3 and 8 years,
yeah.
Not titles, but appearances.
I mean, 3 in that short period of time. Like, are you kidding me? 3 of them.
And it's the youngest defense in the NFL. Vic isn't going anywhere. Jalen has proven he can deal with new OCs every year. I'm not worried about Kellen that much. This defense is going to get better. They're going to be here for a long time. And when you have an offensive line like they have, I mean, you're going to be in most games.
Well, I mean, like you brought up their defense, and my God, I just love that defense. Like, that defense was great, and it's got a chance to be better. I mean,
who was the guy for you that maybe exceeded expectations, or you're most excited about for next year?
Okay, well, so
you got to exclude the one.
All right. So VG will tell you. Like, I'll exclude Carter.
Yeah.
I love.
He's Canton bound.
Like, Jalen Carter is the greatest. I said it before the season that he has a chance to be better than Fletcher Cox. People are like, oh, stop. He's already better than Fletcher Cox, and he's probably better than Jerome Brown. All right, like whether that's heresy or not. Like, he's that great. He could be Aaron Donald. Like, wait till they start moving him up and down the line. Like, he's so ridiculously good. And I love Cooper, and I love Quinyon. Like, Cooper, the hit of the season was King Henry, right? Like, like when Cooper hasn't even, he's a baby, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, Quinyon's elegant and elite as a cover corner. Cooper DeJean means as much because he's in the middle of the field, right?
Well,
like,
the season changed when he started.
Yes.
I mean, plain and simple.
Because
it
you
turned the corner.
A presence in the middle of the field. He tackles, he pinches. Like, that quick hit flash play, those quick screens, like, he blows them up. He's torpedo.
Yeah, there was one in the Super Bowl where it was a quick screen out to the side, and he just took like a great angle on it, and he's fast as hell, and he tracked it. I think it was Xavier Worthy early in the first quarter. And he tracked it down, and I was like, that was the fastest dude coming out of the combine in like maybe ever, and he just tracked him down, no problem.
Dude, he's
unbelievable.
A great player. It's ridiculous. He's so great. Like, and he's a baby. Like he picks sixes, return like a returner, stands up. Derrick Henry, like he could play on the outside. He could play in the slot. He could play rover back. He could probably play like Will linebacker. Like, think about that.
Yeah, Zach and Bo used to get in the argument of positionless football player when he was drafted. And Bo was kind of like, that doesn't exist. And Zach was like, but he can do everything. He kind of showed you he can do a little bit of everything on the football field this year.
Yeah,
punt returning,
He's fast enough to play on the outside, but you don't want to use him on the outside because you waste him that way, right? So you want him in the middle of the field. You already have an elite cover corner and Quinion, and he goes so well with Q. That, to me, he excites the bejesus out of me, man. Like, I'm serious. Like, I love, like, that kid is such a great player. And the other one I got to mention, and this one exceeded expectations, is Nolan Smith.
I think this is mine. Yeah, that's mine.
I mean, dude, Nolan was unbelievable. Physical. Like, I wondered, is he just a speed guy off the edge? And
he's
turned
sick in
into
the head.
A beast.
There was a play. Fran Duffy highlighted it in his film review. There was the pulling guard towards them, and the guard had a full-on sprint head start towards Nolan Smith coming off the edge, and Nolan just stuck his shoulder into the dude's chest and sent him back like 3 yards from like a standstill. And I was like, this dude's a freak.
He is.
Like, what do you think made it click for him? Is that Vic with some technique stuff? Yeah?
Yeah.
He gave Vic a lot of praise at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And by the way, how soft do the Dolphins look?
Complaining that Vic's too hard
Bunch of candy asses.
Really? I mean, seriously. I'll tell you, man. I mean, they're set up. How about Sirianni?
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about him for a second. Because he's such an interesting figure. His record is outrageous, right?
Yeah, he's like a Hall of Famer right now if you look at his record.
He had all that. There's issues, right? The 10-1, the problem with the quarterback, right? The whole idea, the slow start. What the journey of Nick to where he's at? I still don't know that he's gotten adequate credit.
Yeah, I don't think. And then definitely nationwide, I don't think he's got enough credit. I think he's turned the page with the fans here. I mean, he's won me over. I was a staunch
you were.
Yeah, I'm all about Nicky now. So I think
I fired him all last offseason.
He's like, you just like him because he's Italian.
I mean, that is partially true. It's the benefit of the
coaching
doubt.
while Italian.
Yeah.
I fired him last offseason, so you know.
Time to show the picture. Show the picture.
Oh, the tank top. Oh, look at that.
Big Dom.
It's like a fever dream for you, Ant.
Yes, exactly. I was texting with Big Dom last night, man. He sent me that picture. I was like, oh, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, fantastic.
I mean, Nick's out and about. He's a guest bartender in South Jersey.
Yeah.
Brewers, I think it's called. People love him, man.
Yeah.
He's one of us now. Ever since he shaved the head and Cooper started, it's been a whole different.
Baldiani saved the year.
Yeah.
So, where are you at now? Like in your sports landscape, like having this team, and now we immediately turn to the Phillies, right? Like it goes right to the Phillies.
Before I did that, it was a great weekend of college hoops.
I
was locked into Auburn, Alabama. There was a bunch of top 25 matchups. So I feel like I'm trying to catch up on my March Madness prep a little bit. I was just
funny.
reading
I've done that too over the last couple of weeks, but
he's not feeling it.
No, I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
He'll get there.
But here's the problem: there's no Philadelphia story,
right?
No.
I mean,
so rare,
simple,
dude.
I want them to. They led the whole game yesterday, and they blew it. Florida Atlantic. Oh God.
I'm starting to get the Phillies itch. I was reading
I got the
Fangraphs.
baseball itch.
Yeah, Fangraphs came out with their top 100 prospects this morning. Ant, you want to take a guess where our two darlings are? Because every ranking's different, Baseball America, Baseball Insider, but this is Fangraphs, who I do like. They had 2 in the top 20. You want to take a guess at their numbers?
I'll say 11 and 18.
Higher and higher.
I was going to say 8 and 16.
Close. Andrew Painter comes in at number 6.
Wow.
Aiden Miller comes in at number 15.
Wow.
Damn.
I would have had a reverse. I thought Aiden be like
No, I
higher.
thought Painter.
Because Painter, you haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, I think Painter.
Post-injury.
No, I think.
But he's going to contribute this year, so that bumps him up.
Do the Phillies use Painter? I read somewhere they're going to kind of use him as a David Price, the way David Price was brought in with Tampa, and we saw him. Remember in the World Series, where a little extended relief, kind of spot start here or there. How do they use him?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I know there was some speculation they might just delay his season, but once you bring in Luzardo, I mean, unless you're going to go to a 6-man rotation, I think that's the most natural kind of landing spot, right? Is a little bit of bullpen, a little bit of a give a guy a blow here or there, and a spot start. So I would think that's the case.
Well,
but it's going to be interesting to see.
Honestly, I would delay the season for him. And because at some point, there's going to be injuries to your rotation.
Sure. Yeah.
And at some point, I'd have
Ranger's not going to pitch a full year.
Right. I'd have
he
him
rarely
ready to
ever
go.
does.
Like, I'd have him ready to go. Like, you still, like, are we sold that Sanchez is a lock to have a great year? I don't know.
I feel good about it.
I feel better than I don't. I wouldn't say lock, though.
I agree. But, like, my own point is going into the season, right, you look and you go, I think I got rotation depth. Like, I got a good 5. Like, I feel good about the 5. But injuries and, who even thought Ranger would have fell off the way he did? Like, I didn't think he would continue that.
He was
pace.
so good for those 2 months.
Right, but he just fell off a cliff. So he falls off a cliff this year again. You got Painter to come in.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice luxury to have.
Exactly.
Now, Tyler Zulli, Tyler at 1 today is going through all the 5th starters in baseball last year to kind of like stack Luzardo up against the rest of the league. So that should be a pretty interesting a little session there from young Zulli, the bot. But, I mean, the fact that Jesus Luzardo is your 5th is
he's got great stuff. I like.
I mean, it's like an embarrassment of riches. Yeah. And then you throw Painter on top of it as a midseason. I mean, I really like the odds for the Phils to win the East.
My only issue, it's not Bohm, not Stott. My only issue is center field.
I thought you were going to say Trey maybe too.
No, because
Trey is shortstop.
No, I mean, I got to expect Trey to come back and have it. At some point, he's going to put it together. At least I believe. It's really
I'm more
center
concerned
field.
about left than center. I don't know about Kepler. Like, if he's healthy and like maybe, I don't know. It feels
feels
risky to me.
He's got pop.
Yeah,
I hear you on the health, but Marsh was not good.
Mm-mm.
No, I guess as a consolation prize, center fielders around baseball aren't really good anymore. It's weird. It's kind of like a dead position.
He was ranked like
he was top 10.
Yeah, 6th best center fielder last year. Like what?
I don't know
what
happened
on the position.
I don't know what happened to
what
that
happened
position.
to center field.
Right?
It's weird.
It is weird.
It's like teams just said, "I'll take defense over everything else. Screw it."
Yeah.
Outfield as a whole, outside of right field, is just. Even look at the top 10 left fielders. It's gross.
Yeah,
like
it's
left
a
field
lot
and
of
center
guys,
field is
like
gross.
Your corner outfielders are a lot of like older guys that are, that have bats, like decent bats.
But it feels like they're inconsistent from year to year.
1 year it's Adam Duvall.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you have guys like that.
Mm-hmm. And Santana, he had a great year last year, but the year before that, so who knows what he's this year.
Now he's over the border and people will forget about him.
Yes, yeah. But anyway, this is a fun time. We talk about the Roaring 20s, right? We brought that up years ago, and we're living it. Like, this is the Roaring 20s. It was on display on Friday.
By the way, you mentioned Saquon earlier. So I was driving in on 76. We parked up in like West Philly and walked down. And all of a sudden, everybody had the Eagles like banners and flags, and everybody in the cars wearing the green. And a car pulls up next to us, and this husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever they were, told us to roll our window down. And it was on my wife's side of the car, and they were like freaking out, like they had just seen like John Lennon or something in the 70s. And she rolls down her window, and he goes, "Saquon Barkley's right behind us. Saquon is right behind us. He's waving to everybody." Like, they were freaking out. They're like, "He's an Alexis. He's an Alexis." And we kind of like slowed down, dropped into the center lane to see if he would like pass us or catch up. And it became like a traffic hazard. So we just kept on our way. We didn't actually see him, but then I saw video of people posting Saquon from 76, like waving to all the people. It was pretty cool.
I saw those videos.
You know what's amazing is the pedestal that we put players on, like in our town. Like that reaction over Saquon Barkley. Like, think about it. I mean, it's awesome. Like, it's great. Like
it's a running back driving on 76.
There was a guy who came to see us at great guy who came to see us at the Grand Cafe the other day, like before the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And dude, so he lives next door to Zach Bond. And he's like, I put my trash out, and Zach was putting his trash out, and I was speechless. I didn't know what to say to him. Like, think about that. Like, like Zach Bourne, God bless him, who's fantastic, is, Brad Pitt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even that, like, what's up, man?
What's up, Zach?
Yeah, like, trash.
Was he rifling through his trash afterwards?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that. But this dude was like he was speechless. He couldn't even handle it.
What do you think? Is he the one they prioritize and keep?
It's crazy.
He's got to be the one. He's got to be the one they prioritize and keep, right? Like, of everyone.
Yeah, he's too big. Plays too big a role. I mean, to me,
it's like 18 million open market value, though.
Right. Sweat's going to get paid. You're not bringing him back.
No, he's gone. Milton's gone.
Milton's going to get paid. Now,
yeah,
I like Becton a lot.
But do they like Steen more than they like the price tag of Becton?
Well, it depends on who's going to come in. Now, teams may not come in heavy with Becton.
Sure.
Right? Like, they may go, well, he had a big year on that O-line at guard.
On a stacked line, yeah.
Is he, he gets hurt? Where are we going to invest? Now, they may. Like, honestly, if you're Andy Reid, like, you could use Mekhi Becton out there.
Yeah.
Right? So my guess is he gets an offer, but I'm not sure. So you may lose all three of those guys.
Yeah. Bond, I think you have to keep. I don't think you win the Super Bowl without him.
I agree. I've
rewatched the game twice now, and I thought it was when I knew it was over was the DeJean pick 6. I think I changed my answer to I really knew it was over on the Bond interception. Like it was game. It was game blouses at that point.
And he called it. Like, if you listen to Mike Duff, he's like, I'm going to go get
Nick
mine.
Morrow called. Yeah. Nick Morrow was like, go get yours. He's like, yeah, all right, I'm going to go get it.
That was a great catch, too.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
The hands were unbelievable.
Be able to keep the ball up, off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That was impressive. It really was. What a time, bro. We live in a great time.
Awesome. We do.
It's fantastic.
And I like those Phillies odds, plus 180 to win the NL East.
Yeah. I do, too. I don't believe
Chris Sale's not repeating it. The Mets rotation stinks.
Yeah,
Phillies are getting undervalued.
I don't believe in the Mets. Everybody's like, oh, now the Mets. I don't believe in them.
They have a good lineup, but their pitching stinks.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They had no expectations last year. Now they got some expectations. We'll see how they play with a little pressure up there.
Agree.
And we all know how the Mets do with expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. You're right. The plus 180 for the Titans.
I was looking this morning. I like Harper 15-1 to win MVP. Why not? Why not?
Ooh. I got some funny money after my Bird Super Bowl preseason bet, plus 1,400. So let's let it roll.
Let it roll, brother.
I had plus 750 NFC, plus 1,400 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Ooh,
nice. Thank you to Eagles.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's all right. Good stuff. All right, my brother. Always a pleasure. We love you, man. Bro.
Love you too. Talk to you soon.
Peace.
Man, this is great.
Great times.
Yeah.
I do want to keep Becton, though. I don't know why I like him.
Me too.
He's my second priority.
Me too.
Because I feel like Milton is going to get paid, but when you're not playing next to Jalen, those numbers are going to drop off a little bit.
Same thing with Sweat.
Yeah.
And I like you. I do. I like Sweat. I think he's, but I don't, you got J-Lix.
Yeah. J-Lix.
I think J-Lix going to be a player.
He was flashing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think J-Lix going to be a player.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Jomo, listen, I think you're fine there. I do.
And maybe Huff turns it around a little bit.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm with you. But I'm with you with Becton. Like, I like Becton.
Yeah, I do too. I like his
love
story.
having that size.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah.
I do. I mean,
surprise.
Well, I love having that size. Like, if I'm building a squad, like, I love that. Right side of the line.
A 6'8" guard.
I mean, come on. I mean, that means something. Like, I mean, think about that. Think about that right side that you're driving, trucks through. You're driving Barclays through.
Yeah. And he seems like a good guy. He seems grounded after everything he's been through. Like, he's got to be loved. Like, is he going to go back to New York for that money and that? Like, he's loving life here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. All right, real quick. I'm excited to even think about next season.
Football?
Yeah. So I told Andrew, do the list of opponents.
Yeah.
Home and away.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Not that we're going to do W's and L's because we don't know the order. But let's take a look at it. The schedule is awesome.
It's a tough schedule, right? Well, I mean, you don't know until you see how free agency and the draft plays out. But
all right, so look. So there you go. At home, Lions, that should be the opener.
Should be.
Like, I don't want the Rams. Do you want Rams rematch? I don't.
Rams there's Stafford trade rumors now. Who knows who their quarterback is?
I want Eagles Lions to start the season.
Yeah.
And look, St. Brown's already talking junk. That's awesome. Watch me get my rings, Lions.
I'm down with that. I wouldn't mind the Commanders either. They're a little chesty still. They're still on social media talking.
Still division. I want Lions. I want Lions. They're talking Bears, too. I heard Bears. I don't know. I mean,
how do the Eagles get a rematch of the Super Bowl away? That's just the way it's played out. I mean, that seems like that should be a home game. The rematch should be a home game for the Birds.
Because 23, remember we did the Super Bowl rematch here, so the Chiefs came here. Oh wait, no, we were in.
I feel like
Kansas
the Super
City.
Bowl winner should get that
Kansas
rematch
City.
at home.
Yeah,
and not for nothing. Do we play the Buccaneers
every year?
Every year.
How does this happen?
Every year we play the Buccaneers.
Those bottom 5 teams are strong.
It's a no joke.
Those bottom 5 are like there's not an easy one there.
The road games
are
tough.
Yeah,
it's a no joke.
At Green Bay, at Kansas City, at the Chargers. I think the Chargers are a team that takes a meteoric rise.
Oh, yeah, they're going to upgrade.
Right? At Tampa, still going to be good. And then Buffalo. I'd like to do Buffalo. Eagles, Bills Mafia. I was dying for that matchup.
In October. I hope it's October.
Yeah, they don't have the dates any of these out, but in November, December it might be a little cold.
It might be out on Buffalo
Park.
in December.
So I'm hoping that by next season we'll have a budget.
That'd be great.
All right.
Budgets are nice.
Budget for the show.
Yeah.
Travel.
I mean,
That'd be
Buffalo
good.
would be cool.
We're going to get our man Jordan, our CFO.
Love Jordan.
All right.
Yep. Smart guy. He should be able to find it.
All right. So we go to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
We like
Vegas?
No Vegas.
Vegas is home.
I see it. Oh, yeah, that's right.
No Vegas. Why you got
Football.
I got
talking,
excited. I got
talking
excited when I
Arrowhead.
saw.
We're talking Buffalo.
Put that back up.
I got excited for the
Put it back up.
Raiders.
Vegas.
No, it wants to go to Vegas. No, I'm in no Vegas. One more time. So look at the sheer football piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Lambeau,
Yep.
Arrowhead,
Yeah.
Buffalo. Like those three,
Yeah.
that's a football heavenly.
Football hat trick or trifecta.
It is.
Yeah. And you got your
I love that
Harbaugh.
Lions. That Lions logo is awesome.
It's
Like, I want to see Eagles Lions. I want to play that deal to start the season. That's what I like. I already can't wait for that. Eagles, Eagles
You just
4.5.
Smack them around a little
I
bit.
do.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk.
There is a lot of talk.
Like, well, you played Washington, you playoffs.
Yeah.
Because we were hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And they cry about the injuries.
Yeah.
Still a lot of chatter.
A lot of chatter.
All right. Eagles Lions. I want to smack the Lions.
Same.
Goff.
Same.
Little hands.
Little hands.
I want to smack little hands. All right. Let's talk about some of our friends like the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Let's talk about it. In fact, let me tell you about some of the stuff that's going on over there. All right, here we go. Look at this. This is wild. Chickies and they got all kind. Oh, this is my Chickie stuff. Parks Casino, all of the slots.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3,200 over 3,200 table slots. Are you kidding me?
On the app?
The squid, everything. Oh,
Yeah.
This is in person.
Oh, in person?
In person.
That's
Oh, yeah.
insane
Squid
number.
Game's is
3,200.
The Rocky's fun.
Right. They have all those stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Also, live blackjack on the app.
Mm-hmm.
Live baccarat. You
Yeah.
play the live baccarat.
I do live baccarat and live craps on the
You
app.
do live craps too.
Mhm. Yeah, on the app.
We do the yo.
I like a yo bet every now and then. You got to feel it's got to be just right with the yo bet. I'm just a simple.
What do you do?
pass.
Feel the yo?
Yeah, it's
You
all,
gotta
that's
feel
what
it?
dealers have taught me at the craps table. The croupiers or whatever.
Yeah.
They were one night they were trying to teach me. They'd be like, "Here you go, throw a yo now." It's like it starts to heat up a little bit. You throw the yo bet out because it's a one-time roll.
What's a yo?
It's an 11. You're betting an 11's going to come out, but it's a one-time shot.
Oh, okay.
So it's $5 on the yo and pay.
Is it a snake eyes too?
You could do that. Well, no, the yo bet's
yo's
the 11.
just 11?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I always like just to hear yo.
Yeah.
Like yo's.
Because the dealers will get excited too.
Yo's such a great Philadelphia word.
Yo.
Give me 10 on the yo.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Perfect.
Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
There's something cool about the yo.
Yeah. It's not as cool playing. I mean, I like playing live on my app, but yelling out the yo to myself is not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little weird. It's a little weird.
But
The Pagan's like, what's going on?
Sit
Like,
at home. Yo.
Respect the seat, Lewis. Give me a yo, Lewis. You got to check out the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Got it all, man.
Mm-hmm.
So all the casino stuff. And then, you're going to have baseball coming up, March Madness, all the college hoops. Today, 4 Nations, which I've loved. In fact, I got Charlie coming on, Charlie O'Connor, just to talk 4 Nations.
Oh, nice.
USA, baby.
That was a huge win.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yes,
That
they
was
just
great.
come out
Canada?
strong, bullying them.
Yeah,
right from the
fight,
get-go.
the
Fights
fights,
to
man.
start the game.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It was amazing. Download the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. It's loads of fun. New customers. You get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I also like on that app tonight, Baylor's looking, the line makes no sense. Baylor's -1, unranked against 13 Arizona. So go into the app.
Arizona's lost a couple games in a row.
Throw a little money on
I like
Baylor
Zona,
tonight.
actually.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
I'll go Baylor -1.
All right.
TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they are here to help because if you're like me, you've probably got debt from the holidays, from this football season, from the Super Bowl run. So if you got some debt weighing you down, think about this good program they got over at TrueMark Financial. What would it be like if you could pay it off faster and with 0 interest until 2026? That's the program they got going on. It's true because TrueMark Financial is offering 0 interest on balance transfers for 12 months. So all your payments go right to reducing your balance, not covering interest, which is super helpful. So here's the play. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this cool offer. But hurry, because you only have to apply before February 28th, 2025, the end of this month. So whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, TrueMark Financial, you can choose the credit card that best fits your needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA Equal Opportunity Lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate ends.
All righty. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. All right. Couple things. One, this portion of the program is brought to you by Rite Aid. RiteAid.com/PHLY to find out the nearest store and pharmacy. And this whole show, right? We're trying to get a lot of perspective, putting things in perspective, all for Friday, right? The whole town is still kind of, loggy, as the old Dallas Green would say to you if you were out the night before. You look loggy. You didn't get, shut it down. You got to know when to shut it down.
Yeah.
You look loggy.
I feel loggy.
You look loggy.
I did 10 hours yesterday. I had a memorial service with some buddies and then a Quizzo Bowl and then bopping around Northern Liberties, hit a Silk City, North 3rd.
Oh, man, that's loggy.
I love North 3rd. How's that?
It's great. It's always the same.
They have a burger at North 3rd.
Food's phenomenal.
That is so good with the Belgian.
Yeah, well, they do some of the Belgians. They do some mussels up there pretty well. Yeah, the food there's solid.
I got to check that out.
Yeah, North 3rd's great. That was always a treat.
I'm a mussels guy.
Yeah, I was always a treat. I love that. Like, their burgers were great burgers.
Yeah.
With the sauteed onions. I would get the sauteed onions.
Dude,
little blue cheese.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who cooks there, Peter, he was world-renowned, world-class, did Brassier Perrier. And then he bailed out because he didn't want the pressure. And this dude who opened North 3rd.
He did Brasserie?
Brasserie Perrier, yeah. He trained in France.
Wow.
And Peter, he was like,
no wonder why the food's ridiculous.
Dude opened it. He's like, I got a place. He's like, I just want to do comfort food really well. And that's what he does there. He's not stressed out. He does his comfort food. He's a phenomenal chef.
Oh, dude, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Actually, we should, one of the.
He's a big Phillies fan. I've been to Phillies games with him. He's a good Phillies fan.
Is he really?
Peter, yeah.
Well, we're going to do, we're going to be getting into a different, leaner time during the show, right? So we're going to switch up the content a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to do some pieces like that.
Some food stuff, yeah.
And,
do a little review of that place.
Yes, we are. We're going to be doing, not reviews, because, I want to do more of a
celebration, maybe.
Celebration.
Review.
That's exactly right. So we're going to go to different places across the city and sit down and hang out.
Yeah, sounds great for me. I like hanging.
I know you do. You do. Nobody hangs like you, brother.
He's a hanger.
We had basketball last night.
Oh, how'd you do?
We had a scrimmage. It was fine. We played a friend of ours team, and basically it was a scrimmage so we could work against certain defenses and stuff like that.
What are you struggling with?
Well, we just want to get them playing a 1-2-2 against a 1-2-2.
Yeah.
So the 1-2-2 gave us some problems.
Gotcha.
So we were trying to. So I wanted to practice against that, against a little bit of a press.
Yeah.
Right. So we got the playoffs coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
We got first week of March. Right. We got the playoffs. So I want to make sure the boys are ready.
All right. Yeah. Smart. You're transitioning. You got your Nova gear on.
Well, my niece Dominica gave me the sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Transitioning to hoops. I like it.
All right. Now, joining us to put things in perspective.
We could use that.
All right.
Yes.
He has done such a great job. And I'm going to not bother him for a while because he deserves some time off. He is, I talked earlier about what it's like to be a journalist, right? In the media. Like, when you cover a story like this, you're supposed to be the scribe. And that includes, radio, TV, and obviously scribe is written. But you're basically storytelling. And you're telling the tale of the 2025 Eagles, right? The 2024, 25 Eagles. And our next guest is the best at it. He does not insert himself in the story. He does not make the story about him like others do and are prone to. He has done it. He's got a great way to tell stories. And I love him. Hardworking. He's the best. Z-Berman.
Hey, good morning. I appreciate that introduction. It's good to be on.
I mean that.
And you're not bothering me, by the way. We got the combine in a week. We got free agency in 3 weeks. So no, this is the gig. The summer's when you rest, not right now.
I love him. I love him. That's right. But I mean that because there's an art to covering this type of story, this good of a team, where you don't get in the way of it. Like you tell the story, you that's when you really need to be a storyteller. It's not about you. Like a lot of media guys will make it about themselves. Well, I picked them to do this. I. It's about them and they.
Yeah, that's kind of how I learned this business, and I feel strongly that and there's places for everyone, but the best value I can provide is being like the eyes, the ears of the fans in the locker room for the team. That's to try to kind of be that conduit. So we do 5 shows a week. I'm not short of analysis on there, but I try to make sure that I'm doing my best to convey what's going on behind closed doors with the team.
So let's compare it, right? Like, because it's about perspective today. Now, today's a perfect day to look back, right? We're all, partied out. This one compared to 2018. Let's start with the parades.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I think 2018 was more, it was like the celebration. This finally happened. You had people who brought ashes of loved ones to that parade. It was Philadelphia finally has a Super Bowl champion, right? And that was kind of the sentiment in 2018. I found this one was more the party. This is like, you already got that first one off your back. This one was like embracing the fact that this is the best team in football, the best team in the world. It doesn't have the history. It doesn't carry the baggage of all the history. It was just kind of this party that you're the best team in the NFL. That's kind of the sentiment I had. I was on Broad and Bainbridge, and that was kind of the sentiment that I soaked in there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling too. Yeah. I was standing right. I must have been right behind you, Zach. I didn't see you. But yeah, I was a Broad and Bainbridge too.
I'm pretty low to the ground, so you might. Yeah.
But I think you're spot on. I do think it was a relief. I think VG used the word relief, the first one. Like, oh my God, we finally won. It was that sort of mentality. Whereas this one, and look, there was a degree, we both said this, there was a degree of luck that happened in 2018. There was a little bit of divine intervention.
Yeah.
This one was just pure dominance. The Eagles were the better team. Their defense was every bit of the 85 Bears meets the 2000 Ravens meets the 23 Broncos.
You're absolutely right. And it's something that I really try to convey throughout the playoffs, and you still see remnants of like no one believed in us and that kind of thing. And I say what Eagles fans need to accept right now, or what I shouldn't say need to, but they should accept right now is the Eagles are the bullies. The Eagles are like the Eagles are the team that everyone wants to be like right now, right? They're not. It's not this plucky underdog story. It's not nobody thinks much of us type thing. The Eagles are right now the use kind of the Jeffrey Lurie expression from 2 decades ago, the gold standard here.
Yes.
Right. And there's so I think that can sometimes be I don't want to say uncomfortable, but abnormal for fans to accept. But if you just look at the way this team was built, the way this team played, and the way this team structured going forward, this team is the envy of a lot of franchises around the league.
It's funny you brought up gold standard because that quote was one of the infamous quotes ever in this town, right? Mm-hmm. It was small market. And even though Ed Wade was talking about the media market, he wasn't talking about the market side. It was just more of the media market. It was kind of misconstrued a little bit. And the same thing with Jeffrey Lurie. Like when he meant gold standard, he meant, we aspire to be relevant, right? That's what it was about. And it's amazing because that has come true. Like they're every bit the gold standard of the NFL. No one has won it like that with two different coaches in a short span, two different coaches, and four different coordinators and two different quarterbacks.
You're right, and it's the way that they're able to retain talent, the way they're able to develop talent, the way they continue to evolve in how they navigate team building. Adding Saquon Barkley is an example of that, right? Getting to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and then having the 10th pick the following year and in position to get Jalen Carter at number 9. That's an example of that. The fact that that they've had now under Nick Sirianni, 3 different coordinators go on to become head coaches, right? And you look at some of Howie's assistants around the league, and I know from speaking to Jeffrey Lurie when he made that statement, 2 decades ago, it was criticized of course, because the Eagles hadn't won the Super Bowl, but it was based on, you look at where that franchise was in the mid '90s, and then in the mid 2000s. They had this great practice facility. They had this great stadium. They were in the NFC Championship game every year. They have this franchise quarterback. Like, at that time, it was a franchise that around the league was looked at like they're competitive every year. And now they just weren't able to break through. The Eagles are in a position now where 2 of the past 7 seasons they've been able to break through, and that is that's rare. It is rare to be in the situation they're in right now.
All right, let's look at journeys, because there's a number of players, coaches. The journeys are incredible. I mean, really great stories. I always look at, the Odyssey, right? We want to talk about the hero's journey,
like the Iliad and the Odyssey.
I mean, think about it. Like, we'll start with the guy that got hit with a beer can. All right. I mean, how great is that journey from being banished by Chip Kelly, by being fans hated him. A lot of the football community did not embrace him, and how he has become the man.
You're right. And look, there's been kind of different versions of Howie over the years, and better than I do there. But I've covered 13 of these years. I've known Howie for 15 years, and what you can't dismiss is like the competitiveness, the creativity, the intelligence, and he's able to continue to evolve. What I respect about the way he's built the team is that in that position, it's very easy to try to be try to just do things that won't get you fired, right? Like and either to maintain convention or just try not to ruffle feathers, and Howie goes for it all the time. And I know there's a school of thought that he can do that because that he can be aggressive because he has job security. But actually, in speaking to Jeffrey about this, one of the things, he has job security because he is aggressive. If he was not aggressive, then Jeffrey wouldn't have him there. But yeah, the way that he's been able to build this roster, a few different stages, and look, everyone has misses every year. But he knows how to maximize lottery tickets. He knows how to keep taking shots. And the roster that he's built this year was clearly the best roster in the NFL.
Let's go to Jalen.
Yeah, so when I think of Jalen, I think so I was in a ballroom up in the Poconos 2 years ago he was winning the Maxwell Awards, and this was right at he was winning the Maxwell Award. It was right after they lost the Super Bowl, and he gives this line, that I didn't walk through the fire just to smell the smoke, right? And you kind of the enduring image, and this isn't one that's really come out, is that it was the day after the Super Bowl this year, and he's at this MVP ceremony. He's probably on like 2 hours of sleep, and Roger Goodell hands him the MVP trophy, and he poses for the photo op there, and then he's supposed to go up to the podium. Then he says, "Wait," he says, "Can I take a photo with the Lombardi Trophy too?" And I think that's like a real genuine sentiment, is that you saw on the mic'd up, he gets told that he's the MVP, and or he says he gets told you're Super Bowl MVP, and he says I'm Super Bowl champ. And I think the notion of, or the sentiment that's winning all that matters is all that matters. I think Jalen truly believes it, and he's bought into it this year.
Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon. I think back to his. I think it was his dad told him going into or after the championship game that, man, you seem happier. Like you just seem happier. And he said that he didn't realize how much everything that happened with the Giants was weighing on him in a visible way. And I feel, in being around Saquon, there's like this liberation almost in terms of what this year's been. He's also, like, you talk to people behind the scenes. He's too good to be true in terms of like the way he comports himself. And I think back, so I spent a little time with Saquon back in September, and I remember thinking, man, this is great. I'm in with him, And then I realized now he treats everyone that way. Everyone thinks they're in with Saquon, right? So yeah, so to me, it's like this he is like too good to be true. You hear behind the scenes.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. The greatest acquisition by any Philadelphia sports team, the great player with a combination of winning attitude and humility.
Yeah.
His humility is amazing to me. He's just he's a great guy. Just, you said it. He's a great person. Like, I love Saquon. I love that about him.
And he has a genuine appreciation for playing here, for winning here. Probably given the fact that, like, he's honest. He did not want to leave New York. He wanted to be a Giant for life. If it was up to him, that's where he would have stayed. So there is a genuine appreciation on his end.
All right, two more, and it's Nick and Vic. All right, I want to go Vic first. I want to go Fangio because he's interesting. Because this defense was the greatest defense and eclipsed in a town with great defenses and great defense coordinators like Jim Johnson and Buddy Ryan and Bud Carson. He's eclipsed them all. And here's a guy in the swan song of his career, was a head coach, went to Miami, and it was a disaster in Miami. The players talking about how he was too hard on them.
Yep.
And then he comes back to a place, not far from his hometown, in a great position of comfort.
You're right. And it's the way this team has responded to him. It's the fact that I think everything you need to know is like, after the Super Bowl, talking to Jeffrey Lurie, and Jeffrey says, this is why we wanted him last year, right? Like, the whole plan was for Gannon to get a head coaching job and Fangio to become the defensive coordinator. And it happened a year later than they expected. But this is a city that loves defensive coordinators. And Vic Fangio, Nick Sirianni said Vic has established himself as like one of the best defensive coordinators of all time. And you think about it, he's had this great run. And I saw this quote that he told a few reporters after the game where he referenced Dean Smith and how, Dean Smith was in the Final Four all those years, finally wins the title, and said, like, he's not a better coach the next day. He just has a title. And Vic Fangio, he's not a better defensive coordinator now, but there is like a validation to his legacy now that he's won the Super Bowl.
What does the Eagles and finally coming here mean to him?
Oh, I mean, he grew up in Dunmore. He knows all Phillies history. He's a big Phillies fan. He grew up a big Phillies fan. He knows the history. He fits personality wise with the city. If you can find him at the Palladium every now and then down in South Philly. Yeah, he it's different than winning this in Miami or winning this in Denver, right? I mean, he's part of Philly for sure.
Finally, Sirianni, who is, I think about his journey, right? He comes in, and it's got to start from the beginning with his introductory news conference. And, very non-traditional for an NFL coach.
Yeah.
Rambled, used the interesting correlations to football. His analogies were, we talked about everything from plants and flowers and the whole thing in soil. And, he's been like that his whole tenure here. He wins all these games. Then there's the slide. And then all of a sudden, his job is in serious jeopardy. Then the quarterback is not in love with him, so that there's a chasm there. Then there is the first 4 games of the season. And then there's Nick after that, right? Like, this story is an amazing story.
You're right. And he's been like, it doesn't look the way it looks with Andy Reid. It doesn't look the way it looks with Bill Belichick. But he's authentic to himself, and I think that's what's endured, and ultimately I think that's what earns him the respect of his players. I think back, I was in his hometown, Jamestown, New York, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat. His best friend from high school, Tom Langworthy, is driving me around, and we're kind of talking about how Nick's going to do in Philly. And the sentiment was that he knows he's going to get criticized no matter what. So why not just be himself, right? And like, what Nick has been himself, for better or for worse. Like, look, he doesn't need to scream at fans after the Browns game. But if you kind of detach yourself from the way you think it's supposed to look, and you say, how are the results? 4 years, 4 playoff appearances, 3 double-digit win seasons, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Lombardi Trophy. There is not a coach in NFL history who has that type of resume. So, if you suspend the way if you say it has to look like Andy Reid or it has to look like Mike Tomlin, it looks like Nick Sirianni, but the Nick Sirianni way works.
Did you have to suspend? Like, you think about it yourself. You've been around coaches. And he is very unorthodox.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think this past year, I never kind of got into like the sideline decorum. I kind of thought that's who he is, right? I think more the letting go of the offense this past year. I was curious to see how that would go, because look, Nick's a prideful guy too, right? And like, Nick loves putting game plans together. Nick believes that a big reason why he was hired is because of his offensive acumen. And so, like, to get to this point in your coaching tenure and say you're giving up the offense, I was curious how that would go, because I was wondering if more pride would, if pride would get in the way. And I give Nick a lot of credit for being willing to do what he did.
Yeah, we talked about, how many times did you say, well, is it his thumbprints on everything?
Right.
And is he calling the play? Every bad play, and
Was
this
it
is
a Nick
true,
call?
he would say it's a Nick call.
Yeah. And Nick will raise his hand for that, right? Because he thinks that's the job of the head coach. Now, I always go back, and I think this is going to be relevant when we talk in the next few weeks. This is Jalen Hurts' offense as much as it is anything else, right? It's not Kellen Moore's offense, not Nick Sirianni's offense. It's Jalen Hurts' offense. But I think there's a lot of what Nick's been able to do, which is manage the locker room. And I think it got away from him a bit last year. He spent the entire offseason really obsessed and focused on culture. And I could say, look, I'm not in their meeting rooms, but that team this year had a terrific culture, and that wasn't the case a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was evident. And I mean, I think maybe it's not what he wanted, but I think when he had the time to just dedicate it to that, he's really effective. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't say anything bad about this team, the bond they have, the way they love each other and play for each other.
And look, that starts with him. Like he's pushed the right buttons there. And I'll say too, like this is a moment in time in the sense that there are going to be bad times here, just like last year, the 2023 season rather. But what they did this year, Knicks created it. That locker room's created it, and that endures.
Hey, Zach, speaking of the culture, like one thing I saw from the weekend that was really interesting, the James Bradbury coming to kind of maybe save Q from a drunken TV interview where Bradbury, like he could be bitter, he could be miserable. This young guy came in, pretty much took his spot, and he seemed like he was just as happy celebrating and looking out for the younger guy. And I thought that was really cool. And I think that's part of the culture Nick's created there.
Yeah, I spoke to James the other day, and look, he had to kind of swallow his pride a bit this year too, and look at this from the business end of it. He sat on IR all year, but in the Super Bowl locker room, he was there celebrating, standing there soaking it all in. And I asked him, I said, "Did you feel a part of this? Like, because he did not play, he was not around all the time." And he said he'll get a Super Bowl ring. He's a Super Bowl champion, and no one can take that away from him. And that's the truth.
Yeah, and it's a tough thing for him to do.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm with you. I do. I think it's really difficult to be able to put that aside. I'll tell you the journeys but getting back to Nick, because I just think the Nick story is a really interesting story. Because you don't even know. I almost feel like he doesn't even get enough credit nationally. What's the dynamic now between Nick and Jalen? That's, I think, an interesting piece of this too.
Yeah, well, I think Jalen's gonna be more emboldened than ever. And look, he's a Super Bowl winner. He's a Super Bowl MVP, and rightfully so. And there's gonna be a new. So I think that's gonna be one of the things that they kind of have to navigate going forward. Maybe not in a bad way, but in an honest way. Is there's going to be a new offensive coordinator. We'll see what the system looks like, but Jalen will feel emboldened, and Jalen even said when we spoke to him on Thursday that he said the offense really took off when he kind of got more involved. And so I am curious to see like how that dynamic goes.
Wow, he said that.
Not verbatim. It was when he was more. I'll look up the exact word that he used when he was.
That's an interesting. That is an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, that was a sentiment that I think he said when he spoke up more. That's when the offense.
I mean, that tells you something right there.
But look, he's the Super Bowl MVP, right? And so, when you win Super Bowl MVP.
No, I mean, listen, God bless. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, but that is an interesting kind of piece of the puzzle here of going forward, and just you always want to have all this stuff in the back of your head. It's just a testimony to. We talked about five guys because I thought their journeys kind of were the top five journeys, and the kid Jalen Carter is another really interesting story because being involved as a young man in that tragedy, and that was awful, right? And now.
Absolutely.
Now he's in a completely different place. Like it affected his draft status, the whole thing. I mean, he's an interesting piece too.
And this time next year, he might be the highest paid defensive player in the NFL with the trajectory that he's on. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I remember being at the combine when that report came out. Down in Georgia, and I mean the only reason he was available for the Eagles at number 9 was because of the off the field questions. But this year in particular, especially since the Saints game, he's been really good behind the scenes. He's obviously been outstanding on the field, and he's a Super Bowl champion, right? It's interesting when you bring up Journey because like all these guys, and we can go down the entire roster. You can talk about all these different questions about them, and then you end it. But he's a Super Bowl champ because It's like that Fred Shiro line, right?
Well,
Win now and walk together
yeah,
forever, right?
yeah.
Like that's what happens when you win a Super Bowl.
It is. It's amazing. Zachariah, so much fun to just kind of to talk about this stuff. So, thanks for being so gracious with your time.
Anytime. And 2:00 today, I'll be in studio with Bo. We're going through 21 games this year, kind of like word association, what we recall from each game. We'll kind of break down the speeches from before the Super Bowl from the players, some parade leftovers, and then we'll give you the latest on the Eagles coaching situation.
So I'm just assuming it's Petula, right?
That's my guess there. That's what it looks like. But the Eagles have to open up the search, and I do think there's some out of house candidates that they'd be interested in, but I think they'll really value continuity here.
Does Jalen and Kevin, what's their relationship?
Yeah, Jalen spoke about this the other day, and he gave kind of a cryptic answer. He said if Petula was offensive coordinator, it'd be a different role than what he's been in the past. So he doesn't know Kevin in that role. But Petula's the pass game coordinator. Petula's been intimately involved in this offense. So it was an odd answer from Jalen. It was an odd answer from Jalen. Yeah.
Jeez. Always like cryptic. Or
I know. I know.
Always feels like a loaded statement.
It does. It does. Great stuff, my brother. Thanks. We'll be watching 2:00, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
There he is, Z-Perm. It's true. Hey, coming up, I wanted to get Charlie on. It's the break in the NHL. I've been in love with Four Nations. I watched every game.
Have you?
Every game. I got home just in time from Saturday night from the Penn dinner so I could watch USA Canada, which was dropping the gloves to start the game. Like
3 straight fights.
Yeah, the games are just awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, flat out awesome. Like I was railing about how bad the NBA All-Star weekend is and the trash that is the All-Star game. That's stupid. Let's take NBA great players and have them play the driveway games. like so stupid. When the NHL is doing it right here, you could play, whack them up into teams and nations, and there's a million things to do there.
It's I did get a moment because I saw the ticker. I was like, oh man, the 3-point competition happened. Like that's something I used to look forward to watching.
I actually liked the NBA All-Star game back in the day.
Yeah.
When they played. And then they turned into a mockery.
Reggie Miller,
right.
Larry Bird going 3 for 3s. Now you got Matt McClure coming up to the winners.
I know.
Wins the slam dunk contest.
I know. They go back to the G League, and it's terrible.
It's horrible.
It is. It stinks. So I'm looking to look at. I want to talk to Charlie about this because I love the Four Nations. Great hockey, man. And
so what's left with it?
So we got doubleheader today.
Okay.
So you got it's a round robin tournament. So you got Canada, Finland, and Sweden, USA tonight. So 1:00 today is Canada, Finland. Right. So you got a little afternoon hockey.
Yeah.
And tonight, USA, Sweden. And then most likely in the final, it's probably going to wind up being Canada, USA rematch.
Right. Yeah, Canada and USA look like heavy. Oh, no, Sweden's a favorite. No. USA and Canada are heavy favorites.
Yeah, they're big favorites.
I was looking at the puck line.
Yeah. All right, let me tell you about a couple of our friends. Let's talk about Rothman. Yes, Rothman Orthopedics. Joints aching, hands cramping, back out of whack, or like Andrew, shoulder out of whack.
Dude, can I tell you what I walked into this morning? There was weird like spa music playing. It was like, whoa. And he's holding his arm on the side. I didn't know what was going on. If he was having a heart attack, if he was listening.
I can't get comfortable. I have been sitting here squirming in my chair because my shoulder pain is so bad. I can't find anywhere
Dr. Lazarus
to be
over
comfortable. It's like really bad. I don't know what's going on with me.
We may have to send you. We might have to send you over there.
Yeah, they got good shoulder people.
I'll go over.
Lazarus, he brings the shoulders back to life.
Please.
Well, listen, they have a doctor for each body part. All right, each Rothman doctor is laser focused on their specialty: hip, knee, spine, you name it. All right. They have that team, every body part right here in our backyard. So you can cross over the defense, drain those jumpers, root for our teams like no other fans in the country. The Rothman Orthopedics They specialize in you, Rothman Orthopedics, for more than 50 years, right? They've participated in thousands of groundbreaking research and clinical trials. The goal of advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving outcomes for their benefit of their patients. Rothman Orthopedics specialize in orthopedics, and you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more today.
And once you get your joints back together, go get some fresh hair. Don't let those receding hairlines and thinning hair hold you back any longer. Reach out to our friends at Glatt Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical, established by the late Dr. Paul Glatt, now part of the Morgenstern Center under the direction of renowned plastic surgeon Dr. Ken Morgenstern. Doctors Glatt and Morgenstern, they were colleagues. They worked on research projects together. They worked in the operating room together. So it's been a really seamless transition. And what makes Glatt Hair Restoration by Morgenstern better than the rest? Well, you get the same peerless approach to care and the same expert team you're used to, same unmatched Glatt system. Each member of this team, they're exceptionally trained. They all have over 30 plus years experience, and hair restoration is all they do. So Glatt Hair can help during all stages of hair loss with leading edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy and non-invasive TED treatments. Each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment, and they have a caring patient advocate who will work with you from your first phone call to your last follow-up visit. They know it's an emotional and challenging decision, and they're there to make it as simple and stress-free as possible. Glatt Hair isn't about just restoration. It's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change lives. Change your hair, change your life. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt Hair's got the right treatment for you. Regain that confidence. Visit GlattHairMCTR.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Now, let's join us from the All PHLY Flyers show. It's great coverage. You want Flyers coverage, you got to meet and you got to check out and follow and subscribe.
This morning, he's got a whole breakdown of the top 20 prospects of the Flyers up on All PHLY.
Yeah, well, I want to talk to him about that because I want to talk to him about the prospects, the rebuild, status of rebuild after the trades now, kind of where it stands.
Get a little timeline.
And a little hockey action, man, because I absolutely am in love with that Four Nations. Charlie O'Connor joins us. Good morning, Charlie.
How's it going, guys?
What's man. Up? I like it. Couple things. One, great piece. Let's talk about the Flyers prospects, and let's get into a little bit of, who's what, who projects as what, where's the timeline at now? It's a great time to kind of revisit the rebuild.
Yeah, so since I've been doing this, I do this top 20 prospects list twice a year. I do it in September at the start of every season, then I do it in February with Alex Appleyard. It's basically a midpoint, comes right after the World Juniors tournament, which is a big tournament for prospects. A lot of the guys will play in it that are under 20 years old. So it's just a good time to kind of see how the seasons are going. And this is the first time that I've done this list for allphly.com where Matvei Michkov hasn't been the number one guy because he's not a prospect anymore. He's in the NHL. So we have our first new number one, and that guy is Jet Luchenko, who the Flyers took with the first round pick last summer. Jet does not have the same certainty of stardom that Michkov had. So the prospect pool took a hit. Now that Michkov isn't a prospect, he's now an NHL player. The rest of his development is going to happen at the NHL level. But Luchenko is interesting because he has played in the NHL. He did play those first few games this season. He showed that he can at least hang. Now the question is, how good can he be? Like, he's going to be an NHL player. He's going to be, at the very least, a fine NHL depth player because that's what he's already shown he can be in a small sample size. Question is how good he can be. I had a conversation with Brent Flair, the Flyers assistant general manager, as a follow-up to this piece where I asked him about Luchenko. They really believe with Luchenko that his offensive production in juniors is getting deflated dramatically because of the team he plays on, that he gets no help at all. Because if you look at his numbers, they're good, but they don't scream future star. The Flyers think that the reason why his numbers are just good and not amazing is because he sets up all these great scoring chances and no one finishes because his team is bad. We'll see. There's a good chance he makes the NHL next year and sticks, and then we're going to find out just how good he is. But the Flyers believe in Luchenko, that they have a top half of the lineup impact center. The rest of the league scouts, probably a little bit more skeptical. But the Flyers are big-time believers in Luchenko, and if they're right, that goes a long way towards solving their center issues.
All right, give me a couple other ones that you like, that you think are future building blocks, that you go, all right, this is where they need to hit on these guys because these guys is what's going to make the rebuild worth it.
Yeah, so the big mover on our list this time, even in comparison to where he was in September of 2024, Igor Zavragin, the Russian goalie.
Yeah.
They took him in the third round 2 drafts ago. So it was the Mishkov draft. He's a third-round pick. Kid's 19 years old, and he's already either the starter or the tandem goalie for one of the highest profile teams in the KHL, which is arguably the second best pro league in the world behind the NHL. 19-year-olds don't play in the KHL. 19-year-old goalies especially. They don't get time in that league. And the fact that he is getting time in that league and holding his own and looking honestly pretty decent. It's not one of the best goalies, but he's 19 years old. Very rare that 19-year-olds even play at that position in the KHL. It's going to take him time to come over. So he's got another 2 more years left on his contract. I talked to Brent Flair, and he basically said Flyers aren't going to try to rush him over the way they did with Mishkov. They think the KHL does a really good job of developing goalies. But look, we've watched the Flyers this year. Sam Ersson has had good stretches. He has had bad stretches. Alexei Kolosov and Ivan Fedotov have not played well for the most part. Flyers have a goaltending issue. Maybe they don't need to solve it immediately, but long-term, they need a guy. They need a number one. They need a guy to trust. And Zavragin, he's our number 2 prospect on the list, probably, I would say, has the best chance of anybody in the pipeline of being that guy. He just might have to wait a little bit. Another guy worth keeping an eye on. Alex Bump plays for Jonesy's alma mater, Western Michigan. And the Flyers are very high on this kid. Now, I don't think they believe he's going to be a star. He's a winger. He's a left winger. But I asked Brent Flair what they think he's going to be, and he thinks that this Bump kid has second-line wing potential, and also, very notably, said that Bump could play in NHL games at the end of the year because if he signs his NHL contract, he's in college, so when his college season gets finished, if he signs and the Flyers are still playing, if he signs a deal that starts this season, which college guys often do, Bump could get in, 2-3 NHL games and put him on a path to maybe having a leg up to making the team out of camp next year to start the season. I thought it was interesting that Danny Briere, when he was explaining the Joel Farabee-Morgan Frost trade, where he said there are, these 2 guys had the potential to get jumped on the depth chart. And with Frost, okay, you've got Luchenko coming. That makes sense. Farabee, I was a little bit kind of wondering what he was talking about because Farabee was their only true left shot left wing. Maybe he was talking about Alex Bump because if they think Bump could be NHL ready by the end of this season, even into next season, he's a left shooting left wing. Maybe that was somebody that they were thinking could jump Joel Farabee and maybe was why they were motivated to trade him when they did.
Wow. They're looking at him as a top 6 forward, huh?
Maybe not right away, but I think they think that could be a ceiling.
Wow.
Hey, Charlie, what are my hopes? I like Hunter McDonald just because. Yeah, yes. Just because he's big and they say he plays nasty as a defenseman. Any chance that we see him this year?
I think it's possible. What I would say with him is I got the impression from my conversation with Brent Flair that he hasn't dominated the AHL as quickly as they were hoping he was going to. Like they were hoping he was going to make a big push to make the team out of camp at the start of this season. And he was fine. He just wasn't obviously NHL ready. I've heard he's making progress. He's certainly a big, mean defenseman who is willing to lay the body, to get in scrums, to flex his muscles. So you're going to love that. I just don't think they feel like he's consistent enough yet. But Flair did say there's a chance he could get in games at the end of the year. I wonder if that's going to be dependent upon whether they trade Rasmus Ristolainen. Because Ristolainen is a guy in trade rumors right now. Whether he gets moved or not, unclear by the deadline. If he sticks around, there just might not be a spot to give McDonald games. If Bristow gets moved, though, then suddenly you've lost your big physical defenseman. maybe they call Hunter McDonald up to see what he can show in that role. Maybe not for 15 games, but maybe they give him a 1 or 2 game look to get his feet wet going into to next year's camp. But they still like Hunter McDonald, don't get me wrong. And I think you're going to see him sooner rather than later. It just might not be this season.
Okay.
Is there anybody else that they think has a real chance to be special that's maybe real young?
Real young. Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I know that they have this Russian kid, Ilya Paltov, who the Flyers have. The Flyers have a Russian scout, boots on the ground. His name's Kenny Hudakov. He was a big part of scouting and building a rapport with Mishkov before they drafted him, and then before they brought him over. Ken Hudakov apparently banged the table for this Paltov kid. Now, he's a long-term guy. He's a guy where, like, if he comes over, it's probably going to be when he's in his mid-20s. But I talked about it on our show last week with Bill that I think they're looking at Paltov as the kind of guy where, let's say it's in the early 2030s, and the Flyers are hopefully by then a cup contender. You know, they're capped out. They're right up at the top of the cap because they're spending money to keep all their guys. They got Mishkov signed to a $13 million a year contract. And then this Paltov kid, maybe at age 23, 24, he pops in the KHL. He scores, 50 points in 45 games. Then you could bring him over, and then maybe he's fully formed, and you got him on a cheap deal. Like, that's the kind of upside play he is. Now, they know he's going to take time. He's real small. He needs to develop physically. He's still in Russian junior hockey right now. But Kenny Hudakov thinks that this guy has serious skill, and that if you give him time to develop over in Russia, eventually he's going to show it. So it just might be a guy to keep in the back of your mind.
So where are they at, in your eyes when it comes to the rebuild?
It's a good question. I think we're going to find out where they think they are come the deadline. I think they are setting themselves up to do some big moves this summer, because I don't know why else you would trade Farabee and Frost unless you're trying to clear out space to make at least one noteworthy move this summer. I think they know center is such an organizational weakness. Now, Luchenko is going to help with that, to be sure. When he gets here, and if he's as good as they think he's going to be, he will help. But he's not going to come like Luchenko isn't Mishkov. He's not going to show up and immediately be real good. They think he will get there, but it's going to take 2, 3, 4 years for him to develop into the player they think he can ultimately be. In the interim, they need centers. They just traded away Morgan Frost, obviously. Now, he wasn't anything incredible, but he was at least a competent scoring center. Now, they don't really have much. I think they are setting themselves up to make a move, whether it's I don't think they're going to go in free agency and throw, $10+ million a year at Mikko Rantanen. He's a wing anyway, but I do think they're going to be very active in the trade market. They have 7 picks right now in the first 2 rounds of this upcoming draft. That's a lot of trade capital. And they have cap flexibility now by moving out the $5 million contract to Joel Farabee, and they don't have to give Morgan Frost the raise that he was going to get. They have flexibility this summer, and I think they're going to go out, and I don't think they're going to be like bringing in 5 new guys, but I think they might go out and make at least one big trade to try to address that center position.
Is there one wish target?
It's a good question. Danny and Jonesy have said on multiple occasions that the guy that we get is going to be someone you aren't even thinking is available. So they like to, be cryptic. They like to work in the shadows. The big name that's available right now is Elias Pettersson. Right. He's not even really available right now. Right. Basically, where they're at with that, where Vancouver's at with Pettersson is Pettersson was clashing with their other star center, JT Miller. They traded JT Miller, and they basically said to Pettersson, look, we have made this a less toxic environment for you. We removed the guy that you didn't get along with. You have the rest of the season to show that you can play better now that he's gone. And if you don't play better now that he's gone, we very well may trade you before your no movement clause kicks in on July 1. So far, he hasn't been dramatically better. He's actually not playing that well at the Four Nations thus far. I read an article this morning saying that Sweden needs more from Elias Pettersson. So perhaps he could be a change of scenery candidate. Now, he's very expensive, but he's also very good, and he's not that old. He was actually drafted the same year that Nolan Patrick was drafted. So he's like 24, 25 in that range. He could fit the timeline. He just would cost a lot. Now, as I said, I suspect the guy who they trade for is going to be someone that we might not even know is available, But we know Pedersen is at least theoretically available, and we know he's a very good player.
Hey, you brought the Four Nations. I've been loving it. It's great theater. I've watched every game. I've enjoyed it. I'm going to go home today and watch 1 o'clock Finland and Canada, and then USA Sweden tonight. Well, I mean, the NHL got it. I love this Four Nations. I think they got it right.
Yeah, they nailed it. And I think there was a lot of skepticism going into the tournament. And really what it boiled down to, I think, was, are the players going to care? Are the players just going to treat this like a glorified all-star game where they're just skating around, nobody's hitting, nobody's, the intensity's low? And you saw from the jump, from that very first game, Canada-Sweden, that, no, these teams care. And that USA-Canada game, man, I mean, opening the game with 3 straight fights. You got McDavid getting crushed. You got big hits being thrown. These guys clearly care. Now, what I will say is that I think one of the reasons why this has been such a big deal to the players is because it's been so long since they've had a best-on-best tournament. Last time, I believe, was back in 2016, the World Cup of Hockey. They missed the last 2 Olympics. One was because they couldn't agree to something with the NHL. The second one was because of a COVID outbreak. So they haven't had one of these in a long time. And I think the players are very excited to show that their country is better than all the other hockey countries, or the other 3, I guess, since Russia obviously isn't in it. But I'm curious if they were to make this like an every year thing, like if it would become less of a big deal, that this is partially because it's been so long since they've had one. But I can tell you, they nailed it. I mean, this one has been so much fun. And I'm really hoping for a USA Canada rematch because, man, that would be a blast. But hey, if Finland pulls the upset, you never know.
Hey, man, I got to tell you, Finland's good. They're not bad, man.
They're not.
I mean,
and it's not like Canada's been that great in this tournament. They've shown flashes. They have the talent, but I don't know if they're playing as the kind of cohesive whole. Like the U.S. team is playing as a cohesive whole.
Oh, the USA team looks great. I mean, they
look real good.
Great. And you're right. I kept waiting for Canada to flex. They had the one moment against Sweden, but even that, Sweden got right back in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, from a talent standpoint, Canada has probably the most skating talent. They probably have the best skaters. U.S., it really hurts that the U.S. doesn't have Quinn Hughes on the back end, might be the best defenseman in hockey right now. But the U.S. has such a dramatic advantage in goal, and you saw that on Saturday night. Connor Hellebuyck was so good. And Canada's goaltending is not that great. It really isn't. So, you have the best goaltender in a matchup. It could take you pretty darn far, and it's not like the U.S. is lacking for talent. They're stacked too.
Yeah. But you're right about Hellebuyck, man. He's terrific.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's terrific. He saved them a couple times. I'm curious. I want to see the rematch too. You got to see that. I think everybody does.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, I worry about if you think back to the 2010 Olympics, the one where you had like Richards and Pronger play for Canada.
Yeah.
Like the U.S. did win that first one, and then Canada won in the gold medal game. So you just worry a little bit as a USA fan. Like I want to see that rematch because it's going to be such a fun hockey game, but also I really it would kill me if Canada comes back and wins the rematch when it really matters.
Yeah, that's a good point. My brother, great stuff as always. We'll be back. You'll be back at work soon.
Yes, we will be back in studio Wednesday. So have these 2 days without a show because we're going to be covering, there's a Saturday game, and then we're going to be at the Flyers Carnival on Sunday, basically doing like a straight through, like 4 hours of interviews with a bunch of Flyers players and Flyers people.
That's always fun.
Check that out. Always a good time.
Always. Great work, my brother. Thank you, Charlie.
All right, take care, guys.
The great Charlie O'Connor, who does such a good job
nice
covering
little hockey
Flyers.
talk.
Yeah, dude, I love it, man. I'm telling you, these Four Nations, I love it.
They need a theme song, like a Game of Thrones kind of theme song for it.
I mean, the NBA has to steal this.
Well, I saw they're saying now it's going to be like U.S. versus the world, maybe in all.
Yeah, well, it should.
But will they really play?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
It's going to be 180 to 174.
Okay, so the world will want to play. and that will force
The U.S. to play.
the U.S. to play.
Interesting.
That's my theory.
All right.
It kind of
Let's
sucks
give it a
that
shot. Try
the
it.
USA kids are just fat and don't care because they get paid so much freaking money. But
I mean, the European kids get paid too.
yeah, well, Luca is out of shape, but
Yeah.
But there's more of a pride for them.
Okay.
Like Wemby, I love Wemby. Wemby was asked about, hey, have you gotten the chance to visit with your heroes? He's like, no. He goes, I want to beat them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They were like, well, what about, have you got a chance to sit with Steph Curry and talk basketball and maybe get some tips? And he's like, no. He goes like, I want to beat him. Like, what are you doing?
I can see that.
I love that.
I can see the world being like, yo, this is,
Yeah,
we're
like-
taking this game over now. And we're trying to.
I want to
Yeah,
see it.
yeah.
Because I think the USA needs that. I think they need to get pushed.
Yes.
All right?
Totally agree.
Because the Paul George mentality is now pervasive
the
in that league.
audacity of this guy to be showing his vacation pictures, which are not even suitable to
I
show,
gotta tell
but you got to be
gotta-
kidding me with this guy.
I got to tell you, no one is luckier that the Eagles won the Super Bowl
Right?
than Paul
Paul
George,
George.
who would get eviscerated. This dude missed 3 games with a pinky.
Right.
A freaking pinky. A pinky, this dude. The freaking balls on that guy.
Somebody actually broke it down. He has put out more podcasts
I know he has.
than free throws.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
He stinks. Mentally, he stinks.
I know. We have a phone call, I believe.
We do?
I was told we have a phone call.
Sweet.
We have a phone call.
Yeah.
I like phone calls.
Yeah, I was told we have a phone call.
Nice.
Maybe Nick
Someone sneak into the green room without Andrew knowing.
said he's on a link.
Oh, I just got his. No, he's not on a link.
Oh. All right, well, see if he can get on a link
I
while
just got his email.
we talk. Well, we'll talk about the Rite Aid back in the day moment. Do we have a back in the day
We
moment?
got it. We got it back. We got a couple backs.
We got a couple. I don't know which one to use. I'm torn.
I got 2 of them.
You got 2 of them too?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
All right.
You got that wry smile.
Well, one wasn't. One was tweaking. We're going back.
Really?
We're going back.
tweaking.
We're going back.
You got me
Back in the day.
Why the tweak?
With Rite Aid. Yeah.
All right. I think this is
Mine's
the
an
tweet.
On This Day Phillies one. On This Day
Oh,
Phillies.
Is that the
Okay.
tweak?
Yeah. I was like trying to find something on this
Oh,
day.
I thought it was the other one.
Oh, no.
All right. I'll put this one up.
The
then.
Phillies signed someone on this day in 2021. Brad Miller. Bamboo Brad.
Oh my God, I hated Brad Miller. Dude.
Brad Miller the opposite way, a solo home run. The Phillies lead it 2-0.
He went on to hit 227
Joe
that
rolled
year.
the dice to put another left-hander in the lineup.
20 dingers.
And
though.
here in the third,
He was
it
like batting
pays
cleanup.
off.
That
So-
was the days he was batting cleanup.
Right. So that was one of my most hated teams, right?
That's what I
And
said.
I hated people went nuts. Oh, bamboo. It's great. They're getting bamboo plants and all the things. They stink, right? Clintack was the GM. They weren't going anywhere. It was BS. Like, I'm all about the baseball thing, and if there's a bamboo plant, like, oh, great.
Yeah.
If you're good. But if you suck,
He had 20 home runs, man.
he sucked. All right? That team stunk. He's batting cleanup. That's pencil bat cleanup.
Told
And
you,
we're celebrating over a freaking bamboo plant.
told you it would tweak you.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget it. People were going, oh, bamboo Brad. How come you're not loving bamboo Brad? You're being a spoiler or whatever. Yeah, no fun.
John B says he's still got his bamboo plant.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Bamboo Brad. It was the worst. Absolute worst.
Lean times.
No, thank God that Clintack. Oh, horrible. Thank you, Dombrowski.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks,
Howie.
Yeah.
All right, we got our man.
Yes, we have Nick from Collegeville coming on right now.
What do you say, Nicky?
Nicky.
Good
What's
morning.
up, fellas? Dude, happy
You got the
post Super
I like you
Bowl
got the Phillies
8 days
PHLY.
Monday,
Yeah.
right? Listen, great show. I'm in the freaking doldrums, man. It's like, and you covered it, man. This Sixers team, not only the Sixers team, the NBA,
The NBA is hard. Trash.
struggle, man. It's a struggle. For the Flyers, I can watch a little bit with my left eye. You know, I can pay a little bit of attention. I'm going to get more into it. College hoops, I don't even. But anyway, let's talk about the Birds, man.
Well, wait. You won't get into the tournament?
I mean,
the tournament gets you to baseball.
I got to say, and I think I texted you this or email, I forget, a couple weeks ago. There's been a larger and larger gap between the football and every other sport. Like, I'm into a lot of international stuff. I love Formula One. That's going to start up in March. The America's Cup was this summer in Barcelona. Like, I get into international sports. Champions League. The problem with Champions League, they're always during the week, except for the championship game, which is on a Saturday. So it's like Tuesday or Thursday at 2:30. I can't get in that mood. I need something for the weekend. That's my problem.
Well, this past weekend was
with the weather.
It was the worst sports weekend of the year. I mean, there was some decent college, and USA Canada saved it. But yesterday,
that was
horrible.
That was epic.
There was nothing there. These sports are so stupid. You see, the NFL's done. Why wouldn't college and the NBA having its All-Star weekend on this weekend?
So weird.
They're so dumb. Like,
I agree.
You go have a big day of quadruple header of best NBA games.
Right.
Lakers. Yeah. Right. OKC. You can have Luka and LeBron. Got lucky. Instead, they gave you that stupid All-Star game that nobody cares about.
Nobody played. That's yeah. Look, the problem with the NBA is they don't want to know their role. Like, the NFL has flexed the last couple of years and told everybody, I'm big brother. Everybody step back. All right. I'm going to sit at the table and eat the big piece of chicken first, and then you guys can pick up my scraps. Question is, which league decides I'm happy to be number 2 above all the rest? And it seems like the NHL is starting to do that a little bit. They're like, hey, we're kind of growing.
Too. I think MLB, I think the NBA slipped back to 3. I think the NBA was above MLB, and now I think it's back to 3. To be honest, I think Ohtani and all that, like the international stuff, matched.
Yeah.
Skeens.
Yeah.
And the pitch clock.
Yeah.
I think
listen. When the MLB came out with these new kind of rules and regs, like the larger base, the pitch clock, a lot of us were like looking at it crooked eye. But I got to say, the game is much more entertaining now, where you can sit down and watch a game, May 13th on a Tuesday or something. The problem is locally now, as a fan, it's like, dude, like, you took me to the prom a couple times. Last time, I couldn't even pick you up. I show up in a tuxedo and flowers, and you're like, nah, I don't want to go, because locally, like, the Phils have really disappointed. Like, I mean, this manager, I like him on a short leash because these players respect him and they like him. They didn't play for him.
I disagree. I'm completely on the other side.
Listen, I mean, they were the best team for the longest time, and they shut down.
I mean, it's baseball, man. That's what happens in
baseball. Listen, it's baseball until it's a couple of years in a row. You can't tease me with the World Series appearance. I know, but what do you want me to do as a fan? Like, I can't do 182 and
in the NLCS. I mean, was it crazy the fact that they lost Game 6 and 7 at home? Yeah, I mean, part of the flaw of the team is they hit home runs. I mean, that's what they are.
I don't think they quit on Topper.
I'm not saying they quit, but there's a lot of seniority in that clubhouse. And I need somebody like Saquon and Zach, like Vaughn, like they showed up and said, hey, we're the new guys, but we're leading by example on the field. but also in the locker room. Like this team,
Yeah, but
this team
they
they
have a good
didn't.
clubhouse, the Phillies.
Well,
See,
listen,
I think the Phillies are more like the early 2000 Eagles, where they're buzzing around. I don't know if they're going to get there, but they're good and they're buzzing around.
they were young. The difference is the Eagles were young and growing. These guys are plateauing. The question is
early 2000 Eagles.
2000. Okay, yeah, near the end. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Eagles. That's who they. All right, but what you're describing, the prom and vitriol, that's the Sixers.
No, the Sixers. The Sixers is
are
like
horrible.
your little brother that's
angry at
calling
the
you.
Sixers.
No, the Sixers are like the bad brother who's got a bad habit, and he's always like doing the wrong thing. It's like, they took my Tums. They took my Tums. It's like, you can't, you get him out of trouble. You pay his debt, his the VIG and all the gambling debt. And next thing you know, Joey down the corner comes to you and goes, "Hey, your brother, you got to go get your brother because he's acting like a fool." But let me talk Jalen.
I'm not it's funny. I'm emboldened, but I can't wait for the Phillies. I don't know what's going to happen,
dude. I can't. It's nice for the summer, but there's a couple summers in a row where they kept us all, they kept us happy and we caught their attention. They caught our attention, and we paid a lot of attention to them. But if there's any rough road, like the audience is going to be like, "Hey, when's training camp starting? When's the draft? When's mini OTAs?"
Man. Yeah, I'm on the opposite, man. Yeah, I don't see it. I'm completely.
I can't do 162.
Baseball, man. Let's go 162, brother.
I can't do 162. I can't do you. I've been 162 in it for 3 years now.
Well, 3 years.
What's that math?
They've been giving you good baseball for 3 years.
They're a good team. Like you got a good. It's a gift.
I'm blaming this on a football hangover or something. Nicky's not in his right mind right now. He's a little hungover this morning.
Man.
You're right. I'm struggling, man. I got to say, my butt's struggling. Let me just say this about Jalen. His last 2 games were unbelievable. His last 2 games are what we wanted. I know we catch a lot of flack in the chat, like stop beating up on Jalen. Jalen looked terrible 7-8 weeks ago. Jalen took a lot of sacks for the Rams game. I know he didn't turn over the ball, he didn't fumble the football, he didn't throw INTs, but he progressed. Those last 2 games, NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, he was the best player on the field. He was the best player in the league. Those 2 weeks, he outplayed Mahomes 2 Super Bowls in a row, except for 1 fumble, pick up 6. I need him and the team and Nicky to trust him, get this new offensive coordinator in there and say, "What do you want to do? We're going to give you more leeway. We're going to take the straitjacket off, but we're still going to be supervising. And I need everybody to be adults."
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
So
I hear you, buddy.
Yeah.
Nicky,
I'll let you guys go.
it's all
Love you
good,
guys.
Nicky. It's all good.
Listen,
Come on,
I'm ordering my Eagles gear. It just hasn't gotten here yet.
all right. We love you, buddy. Hang in there, man. It's good.
Peace.
Phillies are good. Enjoy it. All right, see you, buddy.
They got the 4th best odds to win the World
I
Series.
mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm jolly, but I go, you're a great team. Like, the Phillies are a really good baseball team, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
of course,
like,
the Dodgers are kind of a buzzkill. We'll see how it goes. Injuries happen in baseball. It's a long season.
what do you know about baseball? You know that you got to make the playoffs and see what happens.
What you get in.
See where you're at.
People were asking for a timeout for Nicky, temporary suspension with that take.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I think the Phillies are like the Sixers are. I'm angry with.
Yes,
because first of all, they're killing Tyrese. All right. The only thing that you love about them is Maxey.
That's it,
right?
There's no other reason to watch.
And then you bring in Grimes, like.
This guy really grinds your gears.
Yeah, really
Grimes guy.
Because you know why? He dominates the ball.
I think the only thing that I can agree with Nick on that, his take, is that the 162 games to get to the playoffs.
All right, dude. It's baseball.
Is long. But no, I did.
We're going to be in June. He's going to be wishing the fast forward. Can we just enjoy the baseball season? It's not even started. We're the first day.
I'm not fast forward anything. I'm just saying I understand where he's coming from.
162 games. It's the first week of spring training.
I'm not dreading anything. I'm just saying I understand where he's coming from is all. I understand
I don't understand. I don't understand you. I don't understand Nikki. No.
He's
listen,
wearing his Liverpool hat right now.
Without a
Prime
doubt,
time.
I can't wait for. Football.
Don't tell me training camp already.
Seriously, I
want to enjoy a spring.
Like football, I would fast forward to football right now. You ask me, what are you going to do?
No, I need summer. I want to enjoy the spring and summer.
I would go and press the button.
We'll sit at the ballpark, some nice summer nights.
A little crab fry, a little pop.
But again, baseball's great, and they're a good team. They're a gift to enjoy over the summer, man. Yeah. I feel good about the Phillies, man. I do.
Yeah. And the division's kind of stacked. It's Braves and Mets are going to be good.
There's going to be good baseball, man. I'm in on it.
It's going to be competitive.
I'm in on it. Really in on it. I'm out on the and I love basketball. I'm out on the league. Annoys me. This team annoys me. Paul George, I hate Paul George. He's now a hate.
I love it when people transition to this area.
I hate him. All I see him with his vacation pictures from the beach, Mr. Pinky. All right, Mr. Pinky. That's what he is.
He just has no.
He's got less pride than Todd Pinkston. All right. Speaking of pinkies,
zero self-awareness. Even if it's his girls showing us pictures, just don't share the pictures. Don't share the pictures.
I don't care
what my seasons look like.
And listen, I don't want to hear anybody defend it. All right,
you can't
because he's a thief.
The guy is guiltless. Right? Has zero guilt about the season he's putting in.
He's horrible, right? Yeah. He comes in. He's prideless.
Yeah.
He has nothing. He offers nothing to this team.
Stuck in traffic during the Eagles when they're celebrating.
He's just he does it. He took the money, took the bag, and that was it.
So out of touch.
Got no pride, no basketball pride. I hate him. I do, seriously. Look, you can say what you want about Ben Simmons, right? Yeah. He's worse than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has issues, emotional issues.
Definite issues.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
This dude is straight up, because he can play. This dude's a thief.
Yeah.
All right? He don't care.
Yeah. Let's fast forward through him.
Sickening. They just stole my season.
Yeah,
stole it.
It's a gross Sixers season. It's really bad.
Sorry.
No, I like it, but you gotta cut down your NBA watching for your own mental health. You're gonna have to back it up a little bit.
So later this week, my buddy Derek Brooks, who is an agent, NBA agent, I was on the phone with him all morning. Railing on the NBA All-Star, right?
It's horrible.
So he's going to join us because he feels the same way.
All right,
we'll get to more college.
We're going to have to do some meditation sessions after these NBA segments. Calm you down. Get you back to
the White Lotus. All right. I think that's going to do it for us. Everybody have a great day. We love you. Go Birds!
Go Birds!
We all silly like the mayor.